The one question that people will ask is that, yes, we've got a substantive document in place, but the issues that, as you rightly said, polarize the world still remain there, particularly Ukraine. Given what was said in Bali, given what some are saying was a more watered-down version on Ukraine in this document, do you sense that those polarities are slowly being removed, Mr. Shringla? Or do you believe that still remains the major challenge for groupings like G20 to walk the talk on those issues, be it Ukraine or be it even climate change?
Well, you heard what the Prime Minister said, that our presidency has to be seen as a presidency of healing, harmony and hope. And if you looked at the 8 paragraphs that dealt with geopolitical issues under our outcome document, it is under the rubric of planet, people, peace and prosperity. And if you read those paragraphs carefully, you will see a very distinctly Indian imprint of the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam in all of those 8 paragraphs, whether we talk about the UN Charter, we talk about respect for international law, or the respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states, or we talk about the fact that all these issues have to be resolved through diplomacy and dialogue, and finally that this is not an era of war. It reflects our positions that we have taken right from the beginning of this conflict, and I think this is also a turning point. This is the point in which the international community has come together to look at a document that we've always been calling for, one that reflects unity of the globe, not harmony, not disharmony, unity, not diversity in that sense of the term, and cooperation, not conflict. And I think this is very important that today all of our G20 members across the ideological divide have come together on a formulation that seems to offer healing, harmony and hope for the future.
I have a curveball for you. You've had a few action-packed months. I'm sure you're looking to, just relax once this is over for a bit to the extent that you can. But I'm reading a lot of these reports from Darjeeling, which seem to suggest that Harsh Shringla is being looked at by the BJP as the possible Lok Sabha candidate from Darjeeling. They're talking about your credentials, comes from Darjeeling and the Sikkim region, grew up speaking Nepali at home, father is a Sikkimese Buddhist, mother is a Hindu Nepali, family is well respected in Darjeeling and Sikkim. So your political Janpatri is being spoken of as a true Gorkha, son of the Gorkha tribe, and therefore looked at as a technocrat. You already have the likes of Jaishankar, Hardeep Puri, R.K. Singh, Ashwini Vaishnav and many others. What's your smile telling me, Mr. Shringla?
Well, look, I mean, I've spent 4 decades in, the service of the nation as a civil servant. And essentially, when you have committed so much of your life to serving, people, I think that will continue in one form or the other. And what form that takes, I cannot say. So, whatever tasks that have been given, you don't question the tasks, you perform the tasks to the best of your ability, but you work constructively towards, what really helps people, and that's been my endeavor right through, and I will continue to work in that.
Spoken like a true politician.
So you're not. Mr. Shringla, very important. You've done what you have, and as you said, you've served India with distinction. So you're not ruling it out. Well, people will be listening to you very carefully.
He's given you the perfect political response. He's not ruled it in. He's not ruled it out.
He's not ruling it out. So Darjeeling, sir, all your people of Darjeeling are.
You have stated what is. Yeah. Sorry, please.
I'm saying people in Darjeeling listening to you will say, maybe Harsh Shringla is saying yes.
Well, what is correct is that I am a son of the soil. I have always been attached to my roots, and I've always worked for people in my part of the country, because I feel that, there are very few people who make it up, and you owe it to people to work for them. But that's all I can say. The rest is pure speculation, and I would certainly, as I said, continue to work in a constructive manner.
Sir, we have with us one of your senior colleagues, Mr. Dogra here, former ambassador. Mr. Dogra, you have a question
and you're getting very emotional about the IFS and the MEA, and how they brought this together. What do you have to say to Harsh Shringla?
Well, Harsh is one example of excellence in IFS. And Harsh and his younger colleagues have performed brilliantly. So all I can say is congratulations. And Harsh, don't be shy about joining politics. If people are speculating, there must be a good reason for that. So shine there as you've been shining in IFS.
That's someone encouraging you, Mr. Shringla, to make that great leap.
Thank you, sir.
Well,
No,
that's
Mr. Rajiv Dogra is a very
positive
respected
or
senior
negative
colleague,
about
and,
politics?
And you know, I very much.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Shringla.
No, well, as far as I'm concerned, you continue to work. You know, as you worked in service, you continue to work for the larger, you know, common interests in the globe and the larger good. And I think that would be the endeavor. In what form that is, it's difficult to say now. But I certainly, would want to thank Ambassador Rajiv Dogra for his support throughout. I mean, you know, even when I was Foreign Secretary, he was supportive, and he's always been a great senior colleague and a mentor. Thank you, sir, for your advice and guidance.
Well, all the best to you, both in your present, because the present job continues for some time, and also whatever future plans you have, I'm sure you'll shine.
You know, it's interesting. India has a rich tradition of IFS officers who made careers in politics, stretching back to Natwar Singh, became a successful politician. You've had Jaishankar making the leap. Correct me if there are, I'm sure there are many more names.
President Narayanan.
President Narayanan,
Hamid
yes.
Ansari.
Hamid Ansari.
Manishankar Iyer.
Manishankar, how can we forget Manishankar Iyer?
Roster is full.
So, Mr. Harsh Shringla, you're going to follow it. You've got lots of people to emulate.
Let's not get him into trouble, okay? We just asked, I said I threw a curveball at him. He's just...
I don't
Well,
think
you
you
know,
can throw a
there are good
curveball
reasons
at a
and not
foreign
so good
service
reasons.
officer.
Good one.
I see, Mr. Shringla, now you're speaking like a politician. The moment Manishankar Iyer's name came up, you said, for good reasons and not so good reasons. He's already putting on his political pads.
No, but the fact is they've all, in their own way, done quite well. I think politics requires diplomacy. So diplomacy can be...
What was the toughest part? Of all you did over the last year, Mr. Shringla, what was the toughest?
I think one of the meetings that gave me the greatest satisfaction was the one in Srinagar in Jammu and Kashmir, because I really had to go there a number of times and work closely with the J&K administration, Lieutenant Governor, Chief Secretary, all of our colleagues there. And I think it is an extraordinary, again, effort of teamwork that resulted in a meeting that I believe was a game changer. You know, Srinagar was an absolute game changer. The way that meeting was held, the international representation, the sort of turnout for that meeting, the sort of, urban transformations and beautification of the city that took place, which really charmed the residents of that place into saying that we should have more meetings of the G20, the fact that it spurred tourism in a very important part of our country, a beautiful part of our country. I think in many senses that was a game changer, in the region and, of course, in terms of the way the G20 was perceived in our country. And
what about
I
the
think if we
meetings
can
in Arunachal
contribute in that
Pradesh?
small way,
The fact
not
that
just for our G20 effort, but also for the future. I think that is very, very important.
China wasn't very happy with the meetings in Arunachal Pradesh, and
that
yet you
applies
did one
to every
everywhere.
part of the country that we've had.
How much...
Absolutely. We had at least one G20 meeting in every state and union territory of the country.
How much credit in the end, Mr. Shringla, do you also give Prime Minister Modi? The manner in which he put a sort of personal imprint on G20, the personalization in a way of his diplomatic outreach. How critical was that?
Let's be very clear. Right from the beginning of the process, not now, but in 2020 when I was Foreign Secretary, Prime Minister had a vision for our G20 presidency, and that vision has gone down right to the script. So we've been guided by his vision. And as I said, I mean, we've got ministerial oversight. We've had oversight by the coordination committee led by the principal secretary to the Prime Minister. We've had an excellent team working with us. It's been a whole of government, but a whole of nation approach that has made such a momentous event a success. And I think in many senses, if it hadn't been all of these factors, right from the guidance of the Prime Minister and his own vision for G20, it would not have been a meeting, it would not have been a process of this magnitude and achievement that we have seen today. Today that we can look back and say that these 9 or 10 months were the most momentous in our diplomatic history and engagement at a global level.
Do you think Brazil will have a tough time to follow? Was one of the ideas also to take the bar so high that whoever hosts the G20 next will, really look at what India did and say, okay, now how do we try and outdo this, or compete or compare or at least equal this?
Brazil has been part of the Troika with us. We share similar ideology, and I think they will continue many of the best practices that we have instituted. They have been a great partner, a very friendly country, and I have no doubt that they would host a wonderful presidency of the G20.
We leave it there.
In conclusion, just to ask you, so you can now probably organize another festival of a very different kind in Darjeeling, another beautiful part of the world, but this time for very different reasons than diplomacy.
By the way, we did a festival in Darjeeling.
Oh, you did?
We held a G20 tourism meeting in Darjeeling, and you never had such an international event in that neck of the woods, but I think people were delighted that we could get the top tourism representatives to that Queen of the Hill Stations, and I think it went off very, very well with full support from all quarters.
I think we've picked up a theme there. You're not making it public and it's not known, but I think we've touched on an interesting strand which we'll build on as the time goes by. Harsh Shringla, thank you very much for joining us. Delight having you with us, and congratulations once again on a job well done. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul and Rajiv and